G'day hobbyists and welcome back to The Hobby, the podcast where we explore all things related to hobbies and passions from trading cards and pop culture and everything in between. I am your host, Dean Allsop, and as always, I am joined by the great, the Colonel.
What's happening, Dino? What's happening, hobbyists?
How you going, brother?
I'm good, mate. I'm excited. We've got a milestone in the family coming up soon.
We do.
Big Harry's turning 1.
The H-Man. I can't believe it, dude. I can't believe that my little baby boy is about to turn 1 year old.
Feels like yesterday you were like, so Mim's pregnant.
I know. I feel like when we started the podcast, I think we just had Harry maybe. I can't remember what date we actually started, but he was definitely like tiny.
Yeah, it's crazy. So exciting.
It's insane, man. So yeah, looking forward to his birthday party next week down at one of the boathouses on the Yarra River. Should be an awesome day. Hopefully the weather holds out. I'm excited for what years 1 to 2 brings because he's already got like a real little personality, such a little gun. But I'm obviously, me being a hobbyist, I'm so excited to be able to share the hobby with him. So hopefully that comes in that next part of life.
Yeah, the video of Charmander, Squirtle, Bulbasaur, when you've got to sit him down and he's got to make that choice. You know?
Well, I'm going to throw a bit of a spanner in the works because I still think Pikachu is the best Pokemon. So I'm going to do Charmander, Squirtle, Bulbasaur, but I'm also going to put a Pikachu there.
Oh, I like that.
And God, will I pray that he picks Pikachu. It'll be interesting to see. So that'll be a bit of fun. Definitely do that though, and we'll chuck that up on the socials for sure. But today is episode 16, which means it's a guest episode. Super excited for this. Another local legend. This is going to be a good one. This is going to be hella fun. I'm going to throw it over to you, Kersey, to introduce today's guest.
All right, hobbyists, it's my absolute pleasure to welcome our very special guest today. He's a friend who I met on the convention scene. He's a collector. He's a really talented artist, and he's a Melbourne local too. It's Jackson Caspersz. Welcome, brother.
How are you?
We're good, mate. We're good. Thanks for jumping on the podcast today. We are super excited to showcase your talents and abilities, have a bit of a chat. Before we do, we're going to bring up something that's really time sensitive at the moment. I've got to know, PAX, by the time this episode comes out, PAX would have come and gone, but are you going and what are your plans if you are?
Well, I've never actually been to PAX before. Like I've heard it's pretty crazy. The only thing with like in terms of me, like obviously I'd love to go to a convention to work to, sell my artwork and stuff, but they don't really have an artist alley there. So I've been talking to one of the guys, Johnny, that I know that works there, trying to convince him to get an artist alley put in. But yeah, it's still a work in progress. But yeah, I could just go as an attendee and just go check it out because I'm into all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Are you guys going or?
We are. We were humbly invited on content creator badges for all 3 days. So yeah, we are excited. I guess in the interest of, the time-space continuum, we'll just pretend that we had a fantastic weekend. It was unreal because it was technically like 3 weeks ago. We're super excited. It'd be interesting. It would be cool if they put an artist alley in because PAX is so big. It's easily the biggest convention in Australia. The fact that they utilize the entire exhibition and convention center too is nuts because a lot of conventions that are held there will use maybe 2 or 3 halls.
Yep.
This place uses every hall, every auditorium, it's massive.
That's mental. They got to get I'm assuming at least 100,000 people through over the weekend.
Yeah, for sure. It'd have to be 100,000 people minimum across 3 days, even when you just do the math and how much it would cost for that event, right? That would be the baseline. They'd be like, this is what we're charging vendors and this is what we're charging patrons and this is how many patrons have to come through or, it just doesn't work. I know that they've already sold out their weekend passes and their Saturday passes. So they'll probably sell out the Friday and the Sundays. I know they're not far off. So it feels weird talking about something that's about to happen, but technically right now in the YouTube verse, it happened a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, okay.
Mate, before we get stuck into your art, I know we can see behind on the shelf, we've got some signed cards there. We've got some Marvel and DC statues there. You're a bit of a collector. Where did it all start?
I would say, like, obviously, like any kid, I loved toys and that when I was growing up. But yeah, I remember when like Pokemon cards first came out, and like all my mates were getting them, and I was just like, what is this? What's going on here? And then I think my dad, he took me down to the shops. I'm like, I got to get some. All my mates have got them, so we got them. And I think in one of the first booster packs, I got the holographic Blastoise, and like I remember taking that to school. Obviously, you know, back in the day, you don't realize how much they're going to be worth.
Oh yeah, probably just raw dogging it in your pocket, like doesn't matter.
That one probably went through the washing machine or something. Like, yeah, took that to school. It's like, you know, probably got all the scratches on it, and I just remember all my friends just being like, "That's the sickest thing we've ever seen." And I remember it started from there, and it was just like kept collecting. At one point, I think my dad like clicked on, and he's like, "Oh, I'll probably put them in like sleeves and in a folder because one day these might be worth a bit." Then obviously the TV shows came out and all that kind of thing, and like every day before primary school, you know, you guys might be the same, just watching that and Dragon Ball Z and shit.
Yeah, cheese TV.
I just, from there, man, just hooked. And after that, you know, when they started doing really good with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you know, Iron Man's and Spider-Man's and all that kind of stuff, I started getting like the figures, the statues and all that. So it all basically started through there. Got a bit older, sort of lost the mindset a little bit. Still had all my figures, never threw them away, but it got to, you know, when it came up to COVID, like it's just nothing to do. And
yeah.
People getting free stimmy checks from the government. I was like, I'll get a bit of crypto because I'm into crypto.
Yeah.
But also I'll get some fucking booster boxes, and it all started again, but like tenfold. And yeah, like behind me, you could see like I've got some of the like the vintage, you know, base set packs, a bunch of Charizards and stuff. So I just started, full on collecting.
With something like those base set packs, is that something that you grabbed like through that 2020 period? Like what stuff behind you is or was childhood stuff, if any?
Oh, so some of like those vintage ones were probably like, I would say like 6 to 8 years ago. I just had them and just kept them in a box.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much exactly they're worth, but I just got them in like a little case.
But they owe you nothing, next to nothing, right?
Yeah, like I don't even know if I'll ever sell them or anything like that. I'm pretty sure, like I put them on a scale, and like I know, you know, it's heavy packs are worth more with the hollows and that, but I couldn't really tell you if they were heavy or light, but I think I'll just keep them sealed.
Yeah, especially if you bought them when you did, right? Like that's sort of the mentality too, is when you're, especially in collectibles, if you got something that really owes you nothing, there's no outside pressure to try and sell and get your money back. Whereas if you buy something sort of at the hype, or you're paying high price for something, you want to find a way to sort of on-sell, or you've got a bit more pressure to like try and on-sell that to recoup your investment.
100%. And yeah, like in saying that, there's a whole bunch more you can't see, but like a lot of those are, you know, I remember the big set during COVID, me and my mates, was Champion's Path. Everyone trying to get the rainbow VMAX Charizard.
Yeah.
And dude, I can't tell you how much money I spent on it, but like one night I remember having a few beers and that, and like I let my mate open a few packs, and I was like, you can keep any secret rare you get, but if it's the VMAX Rainbow, like that's mine.
Yeah.
Because he paid me like, I don't know, like $10 for it or whatever for the pack.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, fair enough. So he's obviously looking for the second best card, the full art Charizard, and wouldn't you know it, he gets to the end and it's the Rainbow VMAX. So he's paid me for the pack, and he was a bit salty. But
Champion's Path was the set that I actually got back into it as well, because a lot. I think your story is the kind of the blueprint for a lot of us, to be fair, in terms of time frames of collecting as kids, going through sort of adolescence. You kind of put it down, and then COVID, we all sort of picked it back up. And Champion's Path was a set that I came back in on, and like you, I also spent a lot of money on chasing the Zard, but I just got hosed because I never got it.
Oh, you did get it?
Nah.
Those two Charizards too, when the set first launched, they were, for the pair, it was $1,000 raw.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's absolutely insane.
There's such big chases. And to be honest, I always liked the V better, the shiny black Charizard.
I think now people are starting to really appreciate the rainbow rares though. now that they've sort of been phased out, like even at the shop, I'll look at them and I'm like, oh, I like that now. Like it's almost nostalgic for me now, 4 years later, to see this like rainbow Charizard. I'm like, oh, I remember chasing
that, man. 4 years, right? Like I felt like this was like a couple months ago.
Yeah, it's like literally been 4 years. While we're on collecting, is there anything that you picked up recently?
Man.
What
man. Like,
what was the last thing you bought that you can remember?
That would have been. I've got a Vivid Voltage booster box over there, just because like I remember spending a lot of money on that set, and I pretty much collected the master set of it. I might be missing a few cards or whatever, but I also wanted the booster box as well.
Yeah,
and they're not going for, they're not too expensive these days, so I just wanted one in a little case. So I remember grabbing that. But usually what I do after like a convention, so like if it's a good convention and you get a couple cash sales and stuff, you know, obviously we don't want the tax man to check all that cash. So, collectibles.
Disclaimer: we still love the ATO though.
Oh yeah, we still love it. And we do our taxes. And we do them accurately. But yeah, so I'd go at the end of the Sunday when it's sort of in the last hour or so when it's dead, and I'll just walk around to all the Pokemon vendors and just try to snag like a nice secret rare, or you know, maybe a vintage card or something.
Yeah, nice. No, that's actually a good way to do it. That's a really good way to do it. Maybe we should do that at PAX. We'll obviously scope it out on Friday morning, see if there's any deals. Actually, technically, that is what we did at PAX. And then we've got to stop talking about PAX because
it's in the future, but it's in the past.
It's in the future, but it's in the past.
Yeah.
You've already gone.
I can see the figures and statues behind you as well. What's the thought process? What was the first one you got there?
The first one was the Batman. So basically it's the whole, like the classic style Justice League. And I don't know, growing up, I love that aesthetic. And they're the sideshow statues. And I just love the quality that they make. So I remember getting the Batman when I was a bit younger. And I'm talking like I was probably working at a pizza shop or something, you know, I'm making like 15, 20 bucks an hour for that. And saved up for so long and got one. Cause they're maybe like, maybe back then $500-600 a statue, maybe a little bit more. They're all limited edition. They've got the number and things, so I like that. And then eventually, when I got a real job, I was like, I need the whole sort of Justice League there. So,
question regarding that: when you mentioned like back then they were $400 or $500 or whatever, is that because I'm not really in the statue scene? Kernsey obviously is, but for my own knowledge, I guess, is that something that appreciates? Like, are they worth more now than what they were when you bought them?
That's a good question, man. Like, I know definitely some are, especially if they're limited edition. But yeah, I honestly haven't checked back and like had a look at what their value is, but I would assume because they're all numbered out of like, I think it's 500 or whatever.
Yeah.
In the world, I would assume, you know.
Yeah. I would think what's happening with the Marvel and the DC universe from a cinematic standpoint these days too, like a lot of that stuff is just gone up. Like there was old Marvel trading cards from like 2016 and stuff that they couldn't even sell, and now there's booster boxes that are worth like 20 grand. Like I saw this Marvel one where they made it. It was Skybox that printed it, and it was like super expensive, so nobody bought it at the time because they're like, this is way expensive. So they did a run of like 25,000 boxes worldwide, and now that box is like 20 grand US. It's crazy. Crazy.
Those things when you have, you know, when you got hindsight, you're just like, why don't I just grab one, you know?
Bro, I have that moment every day of my life. Every day of my life.
Did you boys end up keeping anything from like back in the day when you were kids collecting Pokemon or dragonballz or anything?
Kernsey's got heaps.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, really fortunate.
A lot of your Pokemon cards, don't you?
Yeah, I've got complete master sets all the way up to E series, and I come from a family where my mum was, I've mentioned this a few times, but mum's a huge collector of basketball cards. She collected like Michael Jordan's forever, and I was never allowed to play with my first of each card. Always had to play with my doubles. So my complete like base set right through to E series are all like immaculate. So and the other thing I was going to ask you as well, you mentioned the show and collecting. Did you play the video games? Because when like Gold and Silver came out and Sapphire and Ruby, I absolutely smashed those.
I reckon everybody played like, you know, at least red, blue, yellow, gold, silver, crystal, emerald, things like that. Sure, at least one of those games.
Yeah, no, I definitely remember playing all of those. And I remember my cousin back in the day, you know, all we had is like, we had the little Game Boys and that, but he had some, I forgot what it was called, but it's like we basically connect it to your TV. And I don't remember if we were playing it with the controller was like a 64 or whatever, but you could basically just play on your TV. So like me and a bunch of my cousins would literally just sit around the TV for the entire weekend.
Yeah, it was the Nintendo GameCube that had an attachment where you could literally, play the games. It was wild. I remember that as well. It was really, really cool. Is there anything over that journey of collecting that you regret?
I regret. Oh, dude, I got scammed pretty bad.
Oh yes, yeah. Give us the goss.
Yeah, which like I don't know how many people who collect cards have been scammed. I'm sure there's quite a few, but like I got scammed real good once when I had I think this was during the whole COVID thing. So obviously like you had the big Pokemon pump, the Logan Paul, all that going crazy with it. There was some eyes on it, and I remember I had two of the base sets. Like I had one fully complete, one was missing a few cards, but I was trying to sell the one that was missing a few and just keep the other one. And man, this dude, like in my local area, literally lived 10 minutes away from me. He contacted me on what was it, Gumtree or one of the marketplace or something, right? So I'm chatting to him, and he's like, "Yeah, man, I'd love to look at it. You know, I've got some cash on hand. Or come to my house." I'm like, "Oh, it's cool." Well, I went to his house, saw his missus, kids, and all this, and he's like, "You know, I'd love to have these one day and like give them to my kids and all this stuff." So like, just this whole made up story, basically. They like obviously at the time, I'm just like, "Oh, this guy seems like a decent bloke," and so I do the whole thing, and he does the I think it was PayPal at the time. He did the PayPal payment, and so I don't know what it was. I was selling it was maybe a couple grand at the time or whatever, and I did that. And I was like, "That's sick." I remember going home and spoke to my missus. I'm like, "Oh, we got, I think we'll save him for our engagement at the time as well." So like, I got a couple of extra grand, chuck it into the engagement. It's pretty cool. And then I got some message from PayPal the next day where the payment had been flipped back.
Oh,
and I was like, "Bro, surely not." And then I contacted the guy, and he's like, "Oh no, it's a mistake. It'll come through, blah blah, this and that." And dude, it just never came back. And then basically, it got to the point where I was asking him, and I'm like, "Hey man, like, what's going on?" And then he's just like, "Oh, if you have an issue, you speak to my solicitor or something like that." And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "What is going on, dude?" So like, this guy's obviously like a scumbag criminal, and but basically never saw the money. And then I remember doing a police report, all that kind of stuff, and they connected me with 5 other blokes that had been scammed by the same dude in the same week.
What?
So we all had a Facebook chat, and I was talking to all of them, and they basically some of these guys lost probably like 10 G's worth of cards.
Oh my God.
Like Japanese base set, mint condition type stuff. And yeah, we're all just sitting there, and nothing in it. They never like got him. They didn't have video evidence of it. Then it basically didn't happen. And like I've been to his house, dude, and he ended up moving houses, and
oh, that's shocking.
Before we move out of, your collection journey, is there any like one piece, not one piece, like one piece,
not the show,
or we could say it's your one piece. Is there a piece that you're still chasing, or that you've been chasing for a while and you haven't secured it just yet?
Or chasing. Well, I'm a big Charizard guy, so and I love the vintage stuff. I never was able to get my hands on a Blaine's Charizard. I remember getting the packs back in the day. Even looking at conventions and stuff, they were very hard to find. And when you do find one, like they were mega expensive. And I was just like, I don't know if I could justify it. But that I remember Blaine's Charizard's one that they've always wanted. Yeah.
Have you got one?
No, I don't.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Like, the best one that I would say I have at the moment is like the shadowless Charizard that I got signed by Arita. So like I remember cracking it out of the slab just to get it signed.
Yeah.
I'll still have to send it off to BGS or PSA or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, many would say a shadowless Charizard trumps a Blaine's Charizard, but obviously the artwork and you being an artist, which we're about to dive into, it's hard to kind of trump the Blaine's Charizard artwork. Like Zard just looks so angry, just like.
Yeah, it's sick. And like I was always a big fan of the Dark Charizard and the Rocket set too.
Yeah.
But I've got an English and a Japanese version of like PSA 9, so I'm happy with that. I'll just hold on to them.
That Gym Challenger, that page of holos when you open it up is the best page in WotC. It looks unbelievable because you've got the Arcanine on that first page as well. It's
Gym Heroes and Gym Challenge is underrated, undervalued, underloved. Like those sets are unbelievable.
Like I don't know if it's a rumor or not, but are they redoing like a Gym Heroes type set or something? Is this a real thing?
It's Team Rocket. It's
Team Rocket.
The talk is about Team Rocket.
But I know what you're asking because they are doing a set where it's like Pokemon and their trainers again as well.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah. And we don't know how that's going to look in English, if that's going to form part of the Team Rocket set, but basically they confirmed in the Japanese sets, there'll be like a trainer set. So kind of like the gym ones where you've got like Blaine's Arcanine and stuff like that. We've already seen spoilers of, the new trainers and their Pokemon. And then, so there's some pretty crazy stuff coming up for Pokemon.
Yeah, I think the cards look very like Delta species, like Delta era, where they've got
Can
the
you
little
imagine that?
picture up.
Can you imagine a Delta species era, Kearns, comes back?
Yeah, that's stuff. Sounds sick. Like, to be honest, man, like with the last couple of sets, I haven't been super interested. And being a 90s kid, when like celebrations came out, like the 20th and 25th anniversary sets, and I was all over them because they had so many of like the old school, like Gen 1 Pokemon and stuff. So I've been, I don't say I only stick to that, but like, I love that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
You know what I'm really hoping is, how they just did 151, which
151,
which is all the Gen 1 Pokemon. I would love it if they did like a 151, but for the Gen 2 Pokemon.
Yeah, dude, like just do that, bro.
So do just Gen 2. Like to release a set like 151 where it's just Gen 2 Pokemon.
Like Typhlosion for Alligator.
Yeah, man. That'd pop off.
That would go insane.
Think about like Pokemon though, because I mean the market, what you just said before, Jackson, that's how the market feels as well, because you buy 151 like singles in master sets, you minimum $35 on a hit. We haven't seen that in a collection since Evolving the Skies. Like Gen 2, 152 to 249, we're not going to get that. They're going to
call it 249.
Isn't it 249?
Yeah, but like, because you can't call it 151, right? Like, so is there only 100 Pokemon in
it's smaller.
Gen 2?
It's smaller, I think.
Yeah. I don't know what you would call it, but you could call it 249. That sounds kind of cool. Like from 151 to 249, you just call it 249. I don't know.
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
Whatever they call it, man, I'm buy it.
All in on it. Jackson, we're going to talk about your art now. And I think the best way for us to do this is probably give you the chance to monologue a bit about where the journey started for you. And, you've spoken a lot about collectibles, the video games when you were younger, but when it kind of clicked for you that this is something that you wanted to go in full time.
Yeah, okay. So let me try to remember when I sort of started. Like, obviously, as a kid, like any artist, you draw in your Pokemons, your dragonballz, whatever shows you like watching, right? You love drawing. So all my books in school and that, like, all filled with drawings of Goku and Pikachu and all that. Like, I never really focused too much at school.
2 + 2 = Goku.
Yeah, that's it. And I was never like, man, I'm not going to be using like trigonometry and shit, like just...
You were right, though. None of us use
exactly.
that.
Maybe Goku will do something for me later on. And it ended up working. So it was a bit of a gamble, obviously, back then. Like, not really like a big internet, Instagram, none of that shit was around when I was a kid. So I got really lucky with how the internet sort of worked out for me. But basically, I worked at a printing press as a graphic designer. After school, I did I studied to be a graphic designer. That's the practical way to go when you're creative. Be a graphic designer, sign writer, whatever. Did that. Happened to be at a printing press. I remember seeing one of the other artists that went to like a Comic-Con or whatever. They were printing out their artwork there. And I was like, that's pretty cool. And I remember talking to the dude when he picked him up. And I was like, sort of, what do you do with the prints? And he's like, I do like the Comic-Cons and stuff in the city. And I remember hearing of Comic-Cons. I never went to one. And I was like, and like, you sell the artwork? He's like, yeah, people buy it. I'm like, interesting. I'm looking at the work. I'm like, I could probably do something like that, And I started just drawing. And because I worked at a printing press, I got the prints dirt cheap. And I started just going to local markets and things. And it sort of just was a side hustle. Made like bits of cash. Like we're talking, like go to a market, maybe $200 to $500 on a good day. And I was happy with that at the time. I'm like, people are buying my artwork. This is sick. Like I can just draw pictures and make a bit extra cash. And then eventually, I don't know, early 20s, I applied for a Comic-Con, got into Melbourne, and then made some real money there on the first show. And I was like, holy shit. I'm like, this is like a thing that people could actually do. And then I started researching. I'm like, oh, how many more of these conventions are around? Supernova, Comic-Con, anime ones, all this kind of stuff. And I was like, dude, this is like, there's a lot. I could really do something here. So I just kept drawing. I was basically working the 9 to 5, get home, eat my dinner and all that, and then just draw till like midnight, 1 a.m. So I was cooked for like 3-4 years, just absolutely like just demented little goblin drawing on myself. So I got through that, and then eventually I was able to make enough money off the conventions that it sort of balanced. Like I essentially made as much as I made a graphic design or close to. And I'm like, all right, I'm making, this much now. If I quit the graphic design, I'm only making, basically half. And I was thinking to myself, can I justify that if I can then spend every single day drawing, getting better, and that should, exponentially increase, and I should be able to make way more money. So it was all a bit gambly, but I don't know. I just did it, and I eventually just quit the job. Started up an Instagram page, started drawing on there, and some small things just went viral. And I was like, okay, now I could do the drawings and I can make money, but I can also build an audience online. And I was like, all these things were clicking. And I was like, shit, maybe I'll give this a full crack. So I just went all in, full-time art, full-time, content creation, Instagram, all that kind of stuff. And now it's like eight years later, still doing the same thing, just, living my life.
Man, that is awesome.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
Like, honestly, I'm very lucky. Like, a lot of things lined up like really well for me. Obviously, any other artists that would be in the position that would say the same thing. But yeah, I don't know, man. If you just keep doing the same shit and you just get better at it, like slowly over time, like something will come of it. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. Yeah. So if we go back to the start, you mentioned the job right after school. Did you do art through high school and do lots of subjects and electives around that creative?
Oh, 100%, man. Any elective that I could pick that was art related, I'm doing it, like the Viscoms and the studio arts and all that kind of stuff. And like, I'd always get like the highest score in those because I was interested in it, right?
Yep.
And I was, for whatever reason, I was always good at maths. So maths was my other thing. English, science, anything else, you name it, I was just absolute trash. So I just didn't care about it. Yeah.
Was it drawing with pencils or textures or paint? What were you, because obviously your digital art now is a big chunk of it. In those early days, what were you using?
Early days was, just grey lead pencils.
The old Derwents. Remember Derwent pencils?
Yeah, Derwents, yep. Fine liners. When I got a bit better with the colour pencil, I found Prismacolor pencils were pretty good to draw with. It was all just traditional stuff. And like even some of my first prints were just like hand drawn with pencil. Like I did lots of portrait things, but they took like, 30 to 40 hours, and you're constantly rebuying pencils and your fingers get all cooked from hours, on end holding a pencil. So eventually just got to the point where I'm like, hey man, I could probably do something similar on a tablet,
Yeah.
and not have to rebuy pencils and destroy my hand. So yeah, that's why I went to the tablet and Photoshop.
I can relate to you with the hand piece because I collect nano blocks. I'm not sure if you've ever seen them, but they're the really small Lego, and like those pieces.
I've seen those. Yeah.
By the end of it, I feel like, to your point, like I'm like Gollum or the Hunchback of Notre Dame because I'm over like with these tiny pieces and my hands cramping. So
yeah.
It's shocking. You mentioned your early influence of the guy you worked with. Was there anyone else when you were growing up? Was there anyone in the family that was quite artistic, or a friend, or even like a famous artist that you kind of look to be like, hey, this is awesome?
It's a good point. Like my family's always been pretty creative. Like even when my dad was younger, he was always a good drawer, but he went down the route of like cabinetry and stuff. So he was like basically a tradie, but he was always very good with the designs of everything, and he could like draw it all out and all that kind of stuff. So I had some sort of natural ability to draw and a way to see things in my mind to be able to put them onto paper. And a few cousins, whether they're singers or like got a lot of tattoo artists in the family, things like that. There's always something around. But in terms of inspiration, man, like I couldn't tell you. When I was a kid, I had no idea. It was just I was in my own little bubble and I just did my own thing. Obviously, when I get a bit older and I got into the marble shit, one of my favorite concept artists his name's Ryan Minerding. And he basically does all the best concept art for like Captain America, Iron Man, all that kind of stuff. I remember seeing his stuff when I was doing digital, and I was like, man, I've got to try to emulate his style. I want to try to get that good, that kind of thing. So I literally would just sit there for weeks on end, just trying to draw.
I mean, touching on inspiration, what inspires your work now, like day in, day out?
Day in, day out. It's just honestly, man, it's like whatever I'm interested in. I know the things that I watch. A lot of the stuff is pretty mainstream. Only a handful of things that are like super niche. Like if it's anime, your Jujutsu Kaisens, Demon Slayer, and Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z, all these huge ones. I know there's a massive fan base behind them, and I also personally love them. So I'm like, if I can just do justice to draw like a Goku or whoever, I know that there's a good chance it's going to sell, right? So I guess when you have that in your mind, that there's already this big fan base out there and your skills at a certain level, there's a good chance you could just, keep doing what you love drawing.
Well, that's it. There you go. You said it. I assumed that the word was going to be love. Like it's on a daily basis, your inspiration is your love for what it is that you're actually drawing every day. Because I've looked at quite a bit of your content, and I could see that. Like, I don't know if I'm assuming we'll touch on it later, but I wanted to mention it now, because some of my favorite stuff that you've done is these meme reels that you do, that basically, like, it's a clip from a meme, and then it'll stop in a still shot, and then you'll basically take that and create artwork. I was watching one this morning, and it was some kid on a swing and fell backwards off the swing and did a scorpion, and then you turned it into Miles Morales. I was like, this is sick. It was so cool to watch. How did you come up with something like that as well? Like that, even just the idea of that concept is wild.
Yeah, like it's a bit silly, but like obviously if it works, it works, right? I've always been a massive fan of comedy as well. So like a lot of the podcasts I listen to are all the big comedians and things like that. I've always been into funny movies and having a laugh with my boys and all that. So yeah, I don't know. I was like, at the end of the day, most of my Instagram's just cool pictures I draw and then I got to sell them. But I'm like, what if I can just create some fun stuff, Like I can't sell that meme video into a face plant into a Spider-Man, right? Like I can't sell that, but I can use that to help build an audience and, hopefully make some people laugh. So,
oh, you make us laugh, bro. I find them hilarious. I guess to extend on that question then too, do you search out memes where you can find that, or do you just see a meme and go, all right, this will work, and then you pause it at some point and go, yep, I can use that image? Because it's pretty cool to watch. Like I highly recommend all our viewers go over to your Instagram and check them out, because they're unreal. They look so good.
Yeah, thank you, man. No, with the ones I've done so far, they've literally just been just luck. I've just seen a video and I'm like, that would look great as a Miles Morales, or like one would be Vegeta, like the kid in the snow that throws hot water and then it lands on his back and it burns him. And I'm like, that it looks like Vegeta powering up. I'll do that.
In terms of the content creation, like it's not just the memes. It's, you started off with tutorial videos of giving people tips and hints. You had that, then you had the randomly searching artwork that you'd done 6 years ago. It's artwork now versus 8 years ago. You're constantly trying to reinvent, and you can almost see different periods on your Instagram of when your content creation has changed and what you're trying to get across.
Yep.
Is that something you're actively trying to do, or is it just kind of like you wake up, you have an idea, and you're like, you know what, I'm going to stick with this idea for a bit now?
Yeah, good question, man. I think a little bit of both. Like I feel like I'm a little bit ADD, so like I can't always draw the same style of thing just week in, week out. You know what I mean? I always like to switch it up. Whereas, and these days it's a little bit to my detriment in terms of Instagram, because Instagram, if you just keep drawing the same thing, and obviously if it's good, you slowly just keep building a following, building, and the algorithm gets used to it, and it'll just keep funneling in those people that like that. Whereas I'm like, I like a bit of superheroes, I like a bit of funny stuff, I like anime, whatever. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. So like it won't grow as quick, but in saying that, it's just like I said before, it's like I love what I do, so just do it. Yeah.
There's the series of your artwork versus AI, and that was the first. I think I kind of met you around the period where you were doing that, and I thought it was such a fantastic idea for something that's obviously industry changing. But you adapted to that, and it was like really great to be like, is this Jackson's work or is it AI? Was that a real moment for like your content creation that kind of blew up? Because it looked like it was really well received.
Yeah, no, I remember those did really well. And I am looking to try to do more of it. The only thing is, nowadays, like, the AI is so good. I don't know if I could win any of the battles.
So were you winning them originally?
I'm just going to take what the comments said, and I won a lot of them. But yeah, that was a couple of years back, or maybe a year or two or whatever. But back then, AI it wasn't what it is today. And they were just, the hands were mangled. Like, some of the stuff would just look so goofy. But now, man, like, it's rough. Like, you almost can't tell.
It's pretty crazy, man. Like, you go to Meta AI and Messenger and just say, draw Kernsey eating a custard bun with a pigeon on his head, and then in 20 seconds or even less, it pops up with like an image. It's like, whoa, that's pretty crazy. I mean, you can really tell though, I think, what AI art is. It's still, whilst it's like you said, come a long way, it still has a very specific look. It definitely has like an AI look, like an AI generated look. So, I'm all for human art all the way, human art rights all the way.
Yeah, me too. I think it basically just worked out like a recipe that's like, this is what a good art piece looks like, and then it just uses that same recipe. So you'll see similar things through whatever it is that it's created.
Yeah, I mean, look, speaking on AI now, bro, it's actually a good lead into the next question, because how is the state of the art industry currently in terms of, art by AI? Like, has it rattled it a bit? Has it created a competition? Is it eating into anything? Sort of where's it all sitting at the moment?
Okay, well, I can only give from my perspective, bro. That's basically the convention scene bubble. For us, it's fine because they basically said in the application forms that AI art is banned, and if you bring AI and try to sell it, you basically get booted from the convention.
Love that. That's a great idea.
Yeah. So for us artists, that's awesome. I'm glad they've done that. In terms of like other creative jobs around the world, I would have to assume that what used to take 5 to 10 people to do certain jobs, now it just takes one dude with an AI program, So I reckon a lot of creatives have definitely lost their jobs. And even in like, I'm not just talking like image generation, like audio, like music, all these other avenues are probably getting hit pretty hard as well. So yeah, for the most part, it's definitely impacting negatively on people's livelihoods, I would say. But for me, being a solo artist doing these conventions, it's been pretty okay. Like I think I've only been to one convention, and I gotta say it was over in New Zealand, and it's a bit bit how you doing over there. And there was a few blokes there with it, a bit AI, and we could tell.
Yeah,
they're not as strict over there. So.
What role do you think then technology has in art? Like, let's take AI out of it, because we touched on it briefly before. What sort of role do you think technology has in art now and moving forward?
Technology. How do you mean technology? As in, like,
I guess as in a whole, like, even now, do you only use, say, like your digital forums, or do you still utilize like your traditional forums as well for artwork?
For me, just digital. So like at the end of the day, for me, like I've always loved doing traditional stuff, but I try to be very efficient. And this is my livelihood, right? This is my job. And like I said, I do love it, but I try to be, when I create a piece, as quick as possible, and just be really efficient. And then obviously I always think about scaling, right? So you draw one picture digitally and it's already a file, basically. You don't have to scan it, you don't have to edit the colors, you don't have to do anything. You just draw it once and then you can basically print it an infinite amount of times. So you could sell it digital file if you want. I know people that do that for screensavers, for desktops, whatever.
Yep.
But that's what I love. I love the infinite scalability of digital art. Yeah.
Yep. No, awesome. Could you, I think based on what you've previously said too, it's probably good to touch on conventions and the importance of that for artists, because you sort of made a point that that's kind of, that's basically how you started making your living. Has there been, and while we discuss the importance of it, have you got a memory of, say, like the best con that you ever attended and perhaps a con that you went to and you haven't been back to, like it was horrible?
Oh yeah. I've been to many, like, just for, if anyone listening that doesn't sort of, that's not in the convention scene, like there's, for Australia, maybe like 20 to 25 that an artist could attend through the year. That's
pretty significant.
Yeah, it averages out to like every second weekend, right? Obviously some are clumped together. June to July for us is like there's maybe 8 or 9 in a row, so it's chaotic. but obviously you get your bank account looks pretty decent at the end of it. Your health, not so much. Yeah, but so there's a fair few to do. And I remember one time, I forgot, it might have been RTX, I think. I don't know if you guys heard RTX, but
I haven't.
They did this small convention. I think it might have been in Sydney or whatever. So I had to travel for it. And so I went there, dude. And it was like, I don't even know. For the whole weekend, I would have spent about $1,500 to do the show. And I probably made about $600 or $700. And I was like, all right, this is rough. You're just sitting at your table, just watching people just buy merch and stuff. And you're just like, you want some art? No? Oh, good. So, yeah, I remember that being one of the worst ones. But they actually didn't do another convention as far as I'm concerned. So that was okay.
So I guess a lot of other vendors must have felt the same pinch, and
100%.
they probably went.
It got to the point where people were just walking around like artist exhibitors, just like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
But on the flip side, the best one that I've ever been to, as you can imagine, in America, I did a LA convention this year called Anime Expo, and it's basically one of, if not the biggest anime conventions in the world, I think, or at least in the Western side.
Yeah,
and that was by far the best convention I've ever done. Like they got, I think about somewhere between 300,000 to 400,000 attendees through over the 4 days. So you can imagine what that looks like in the convention hall.
It's a different ball game in the US, isn't it, man?
So different, man.
Like it's I guess it's just the amount of people, right? They're talking about like hundreds of millions of people that live in the US, and we're talking about 20s of millions of people that live in Australia. So
that's it. Yeah. Like what the population of New York, right? Isn't that like it's 20 something million? Or
yeah.
One place is Australia.
yeah.
What's the artist scene like here in Australia? Like, is there lots of camaraderie? Is it kind of like silos depending? Like, do you guys have a lot of interaction?
Are you mates or you want a box?
Look, there's obviously a few blokes that you meet along the way that you want a box.
We won't name any names.
We don't need to name any names, but for the most part, like most of the artists I've ever met are all awesome. Like everyone's super friendly, super nice, happy to share ideas and tips and things like that, things at work. And over the 8 years I've been doing it, like I've met a few blokes that I never would have run into normally. And now when we do the shows, like we go travel together. So they'll be like, let's say there's 3 of us, go share accommodation, you go hang out, you go dinners after the show, you get hang out with some of the other guys. So it becomes more than just I'm going to work, right? Like you're actually going to work. You're making money with your friends, and also getting to hang out too. Like it's a whole combo package. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think that would be super important as well in terms of like those bad cons where you spend $1,500 and you're out. So like, because you wouldn't be the only artist experiencing that. So when you've got that community around you, that friends, you can kind of like line that up. I suppose the reason I wanted to bring it up was, your early part of content creation was tutorials, helping people. Like some people that have a skill or they have an advantage over others might want to hold that. And you're out there like, here's like tips and tricks to get better. And you see that across the board as well in terms of like when you're out with your mates, are you like, hey, I saw this piece that you did. I thought it was great, but your shadowing was shit. Like, Dude,
I feel like that's like, I don't know if, all right, I'm just going to quickly say my piece on that. I don't feel like that's something that artists would do. Like whether it's your mate or not, I don't know. I know me and you give each other a lot of shit, but there's also a lot of love in it. And it might be the same relationship, but I feel like if I was an artist and I drew something and then Jackson comes in and goes, oh man, that's pretty good, but you could have done this better, or that looks shit, I'd be like, well, that Voltorb you drew the other day was balls, bro. Like,
Well, you gotta obviously pick and choose who you want to help. Obviously, when I post up to Instagram, it's like whoever wants to watch it and finds value from it, that's awesome. I've never been one to gatekeep any information or anything that's worked for me. If you ask me, I'll tell you, right? Like I've had mates on the journey where they, I've already been full time and they're still working the 9 to 5, and I'm just like, man, like you obviously have the talent there, you don't have enough time to put into your work and also to travel to do the conventions. So like along the way, I'll help them. I'm like, if you want, just send me your work in progress, send me the final piece, and I'll give you some tips in that. So a handful of my mates have done that, and at the end of the day, a few of them have become full-time artists now, where like they don't have to stress about a 9 to 5. They just make enough money off the art, so they're obviously loving it. yeah, then there's other guys where maybe you try to give them a handy tip or whatever, and it just backfires, and you're just like, all right, well, I'll never pay anything again.
Is there what's the current market like at the moment? Obviously, bit of an economic crisis around the world at the moment. Money's tough for a lot of people out there. Yep. What are you seeing from an art perspective at the moment?
For me, it still seems to be pretty good. I would say it's a little bit down from last year. Last year was a pretty good year for me and my mates that are also artists. But in saying that, man, like I still make a comfortable living off it. So I wouldn't say for me it's hit that hard,
Awesome. Good. That's good. That was the response I hoped for. Yeah. That's it. Because it is like, everything for everybody is just a little bit tighter. So, it's...
yeah. And I noticed like for me, let's say I've got one print for $30, you buy three, you buy two, you get one free, right? And you just notice that some cities you go to, man, they just will not want extra. You'll see that they like it. They're like, this is sick. I love everything. But they would just get the one, right? Like they just won't get the deals. You go to some other cities, man, and they're just like, give me 10, like it's chalk and cheese. So
yeah,
some cities, I would say like Melbourne at the moment, I would say from personal experience, they've definitely dropped quite a lot.
Oh, bro, the price of avocado and coffee in Melbourne, it's just, it's through the roof, brother. So,
my smashed avo or an Iron Man print. They're getting the smashed avo. So.
That's it, man. That's it. It's about $45 for a smashed avo on toast at the moment. Yeah. And then you do one on a public holiday, it's like $90.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Before we jump into the next part of the episode, is there or what kind of advice do you have for aspiring artists that may be in any part of the journey that you were in beforehand, that you think you could give them to add some value or some confidence to be able to do what you do?
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, first of all, it's possible, right? Like it's possible to do art full time and make a living off it. I feel like I get a lot of young kids come up and, maybe their mum or dad's with them. And they're like, oh, do you draw this, blah, blah, blah. I tell them about what I do and who I am. And they're like, oh, my kid loves to draw, he's 13 or 15 or whatever. And he's been drawing all day. And like, they don't even have it in their brain that it's possible to make a living off art. So just knowing that in the first place, I feel like it's a big thing. Because I didn't know when I was younger. Like I just luckily figured it out. So yeah, first of all, knowing, and I'd say second of all, if you can put some decent money into actually studying and like leveling up, because a lot of the time I was just watching free YouTube videos, which are great, you get a lot of value, but at the end of the day, if you can get someone that's maybe a teacher or a mentor or something that can really help you critique your work and like, have a video chat like this, and you just go over for like an hour, you just talk about your work and what you can do better. That's basically what I did just before COVID. For a year, I did a bit of extra study. And I had a dude that worked on like Blizzard, like the Warcraft game, StarCraft, all that, like this concept artist. And my skills, I reckon they went up like 5 to 10x from just being able to chat with that dude for a year. So if you can get a mentor of any sort, that's going to help you.
Yeah, that's huge. That's actually huge advice because it's not something that I would have thought of.
Yeah.
In terms of being an artist, I would just make the assumption that you just keep drawing, you just keep practicing and practicing.
Well, that's also another important thing too, right? Consistency. Whether you're building your brand online or you just literally working on your skills, consistency is key. Like that's gonna definitely pay you dividend in the end.
Yeah, that's awesome, mate. I actually saw on one of your portfolio websites a Gul'dan, and I was like looking through because I'm a huge World of Warcraft fan. I'm looking through all your socials, going, is he drawing World of Warcraft? Where is this? And I couldn't see it anywhere. So to hear that you have, that gets me really excited.
Yeah, no, back in the day, man, like through high school, me and my brother were big World of Warcraft players. My brother, like, he was way better than me. He knew every class, every move. Like he was big on the PvP stuff, right? And this was before streaming. And like when they would do videos back in the day, they'd get 30 to 40,000 views. Like he'd team up with some dude in America and they'd just absolutely just rip people. And yeah, so he basically failed high school because he was that good at World of Warcraft. But yeah, he was sort of a little bit too early for the streaming. So he, that wasn't an avenue he could have done. So wow. Yeah, had it been five years later or something, he could have been just like a professional streamer or whatever.
Well, I'm going to talk to you off camera about that because I also played World of Warcraft for a really long time, and all my sideshow statues are all World of Warcraft. So we can pick that one up off camera. But we're going to move into the hobby quiz. So this is inspired by your current some of the art you're doing at the moment, where you're combining two different shows or TV series or characters. So there was a Monkey King and Dragon Ball, piece that you did. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a March Madness. Who is the best anime or strongest anime character? And then we're going to get you to take that away. You're going to do the piece. And in terms of doing some form of giveaway or like a charity auction, maybe we can look at getting that piece out post that. So without further ado, I need to know, okay, band one, Goku versus Chainsaw Man, who's winning?
I'd say Goku.
Goku. That was really quick. And I think with his Dragon Ball background, you're going to absolutely...
Yeah, I can't not say Goku.
Yeah.
And like, he just, even if Chainsaw Man is somehow stronger, like Goku's just going to power up.
It's stronger than him. It's one of those ones where I see, like, I don't know Chainsaw Man, right? But I've seen the booster boxes. I know, like, the card game. This guy with, like, chainsaws on his arms. Surely you just kick him in the nuts anyway. And, there's not much you can do. He's like, you can't, if he tries to, like, grab himself, he's going to cut himself up anyway. Like, it'd be an easy win for Goku.
He's, as far as cosplay go as well, at the cons, he's always one of the most cosplayed, like, characters, the Chainsaw Man. Everywhere.
Don't get me wrong, he looks sick. He looks awesome. Goku's smashing him.
All right. Luffy versus Gojo. As in,
That's a good one.
Gear 5 Luffy too.
Year 5 Luffy as well. Dude. I don't know. I think I'd still probably go Gojo, like, with the a domain expansion.
Yeah.
I love Luffy. No.
But I feel like Luffy's got a good chance, but I think if I had to pick a winner, I'd probably go Gojo.
Yeah. See,
Well, Luffy's out.
I haven't seen One Piece, but I've watched...
bad for that. I feel bad. I love Luffy.
You can't feel bad. You got to remove emotion from this.
Look, I'm looked at it and I'm like, I've picked out a couple of favorites that I hope you picked that would make it to the end. Luffy was one of them. He's got the boot. It is what it is. There's a couple of others in there. If none of them get picked, then, I'm just going to can this episode, mate.
Fair enough. Mate, you should... Gojo in Jiu-Jitsu does this, like, domain expansion, like, it's so...
Is that a big anime? Because I haven't seen it. Yeah. I know there's some massive ones out there. Like, One Piece is massive, and I haven't actually watched it. I just collected and played the game.
It's got to be one of the biggest ones as well.
Yeah.
All right. Sung Jinwoo from Solo Leveling, which is only like 20 episodes, but man, it's like 20 of the best. Oh, yeah. Versus Obelisk the Tormentor from Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oh, that's a sick matchup. I was a big Yu-Gi-Oh! Fan, but again, like Sung Jinwoo, he seems to just be able to keep leveling up, so I'm going to have to probably pick him. Yeah.
Love to see that.
There goes another one I liked.
Yeah. I feel like you haven't watched Solo Leveling, have you?
Nah.
All right. I've got a tattoo of this. It was one of the most influential shows since I've been alive. Aang, The Last Airbender, Avatar Aang versus Tanjiro.
I'll go Aang on that one. Yeah.
You go Aang. Love that.
Yeah.
That feels good. I love Demon Slayer.
Is that the water guy thing that you've got on your arm?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He controls all four elements.
I haven't watched either of those animes either. It's not my specialty, Jackson.
Yeah.
Tanjiro's pretty sick, and he's sword, and then he uses all the elemental energy. But I think can't Avatar he uses basically all the elements, right?
Yeah. Yeah. He uses water, earth, air, fire.
I'm sure he's going to end up cooking him. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thanos v Superman.
Thanos with Infinity Gauntlet or just Thanos?
He's got 4 stones. He's missing the time stone, and that's it.
Oh, so. I'll go Superman.
Oh, yes. We're still in this.
All right. I've got Yoda versus Asta here, but you haven't seen Black Clover. So I'm going to think on the fly here, and I'm going to go Yoda versus Krillin.
Oh, Yoda versus Krillin.
Oh, yeah, two
Yeah,
little dudes.
yeah.
All right, I like it. Surely Yoda. Surely.
Sure, that's funny as. Yeah, I'm gonna go Yoda because I mean,
Not trying to influence you, but Yoda.
when does Krillin not just die? You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll go Yoda. Yeah.
All right, our last band before we move up into the next band. So Lugia versus Ho-Oh.
Oh, that's a good one. I was going to pick my favorite. I like Lugia better. I'll pick Lugia.
Oh, I love to hear that. That's phenomenal.
Lame.
We on the Hobby Rumble, we had I was Lugia and Dean was Ho-Oh, and I won 80.
Oh no.
Yeah, I got smashed. 83% of the votes went to Lugia, which I kind of knew was going to happen, but you know, Ho-Oh's just so disappointingly overlooked.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I like Ho-Ho, but yeah, I don't know. Something. Maybe it's because back in the day, I remember that old school. What was it? One of the Neo.
Yeah.
That Lugia.
Yeah.
That's my favorite back in the day.
Yeah, fair shout. I knew that was going to happen.
Got to pick it.
This one's a bit of a meme because all right, Captain Falcon versus Yuji from Jiu-Jitsu.
Jiu-Jitsu guys.
Yeah.
I'll go Yuji.
I was playing it out of the Falcon Punch, and I was like, I've just got to put it. Yeah. All right, so we move up into band 2, okay?
Yeah.
Now it's Goku versus Goju.
Oh. Was it Goku versus Gojo?
Yeah, Gojo. Sorry.
That's a good one. I'll pick Gojo on that one.
Oh,
Goku's gone. Sheesh.
Dunsky.
Should have done Vegeta, bruh. Way tougher.
Maybe Majin Vegeta could have beat him, but
Mm-hmm.
All right, Sung Jinwoo versus Aang.
we got Sun Jingwoo.
It does get tighter now, right? Like in March Madness, because you've got all the winners playing the winners.
Yeah, for sure.
It's actually pretty hard.
All right, Superman versus Yoda.
This sucks because these are both my favorites.
Yeah. I'll still go Superman. I'm hoping that he could break through the Force.
Wow.
I reckon he could. It's Superman. Like, the Force isn't kryptonite, so he's good.
Yeah, the eye laser beams.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
All right, and Lugia versus Yuji.
Dude, that would be such a wild battle. I'll pick Lugia.
Hey.
I would just pick. I would pick Lugia.
The seagull.
Nice.
Presses on.
I love this. I'm going to have to enter in the giveaway if Lugia makes it all the
I'm
way
entering
through.
in this giveaway too, man, because I just love Jackson's work. I think it looks sick.
All right, so your decision here is going to determine the final battle, which you are going to take away. You're going to put your art skills to the test. And again, whether it's a giveaway or some form of charity auction, whatever that looks like. So, Gojo versus Sung Jinwoo.
Ooh. Go Gojo.
Oh, man.
Gojo, that one.
All right.
Yeah, I feel like that was Jackson's favorite the whole way through anyway. They were always the quickest ones, whenever it was Gojo.
I really do like Gojo.
Man, when
Sanjing was pretty dope though. But
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if there was more seasons out, I could see how powerful he gets. Maybe it would have been him, but
yeah,
Gojo.
the fight scenes in Jiu-Jitsu are just so mental. I have to check it out.
Yeah.
All right, and Superman versus Lugia.
Go Superman.
Boom. Superman made it to the end.
Gojo versus Superman.
That's huge.
Gee, that's huge. That's like biggest DC guy versus biggest, like one of the biggest anime dudes, right?
Yeah, that's going to be, mate, that's going to be a phenomenal piece of art that you are going to churn out. That is going to be next level.
Oh, Kenzie, you'll know that he does the hollow purple, right? That'd be sick, like the hollow purple versus the eye lasers or something.
Oh, yeah. God. He's already working his magic. That's why he's the best in the business. He's already got it.
Love it. Oh, man, that's awesome. Yes. All right, so our final is Gojo versus Superman. We look forward to seeing that. We'll announce more on the socials of how we go. We'll talk about this off camera, Jackson, in terms of how do we want to do it. But we're just going to finish up today with some rapid fire questions. So this is a really great segment because it's quick, one word answers. It's just another way for people to get to know you in your entirety. So
We'll just go one for one.
love it. Let's go, Dino.
What's your number one requested character?
Number one requested. Far out, I'll never know. I would say Goku.
Go for Who's a popular character you refuse to draw?
Popular character I refuse to draw would be... Oh, there's a guy on JJK. What's his name? I think it's Mojito. He's one of the villains. Is it Mojito? I forgot his name. He basically kills one of the main guys on JJK that everyone loves. And the amount of cosplays I get that come up to me and they ask me to draw it, I'm like, I will not. He is a terrible human. Or curse or whatever. But I'm not drawing it. Yeah.
Now this is an interesting one, right? Because you've got a significant following on Instagram, and Kenzie told me about this. So I wanted to ask it. But when you announced your engagement on Instagram to your beautiful partner, how many followers did you actually lose?
Oh man, I think like 500 or 600 or something.
Just all the single ladies are like, "See ya."
Yeah, probably a couple of single men in there too. No good.
All right. This is knock boots, marry, kill.
Knock boots is like shag. Shag, marry, kill.
Yeah.
Yeah, America. Okay.
Black Widow, Nezuko, or Nami. Not or. They're your three. Black Widow, Nezuko, Nami.
Okay. I would kill... Oh, Jesus. I would kill Nezuko. Do like it, but it's kind of weird.
I like that because I don't know who that is.
But she's also little. I know she's big now, but she was, I don't know. That was always a bit sus to me when she was like little.
Yeah.
I would, what is it? Would you say no boots or whatever?
Knock boots. Knock boots.
That would be Nami and then marry Black Widow.
Yeah. That's probably what I would have gone with too.
I probably would have swapped Nezuko and Nami only because Nezuko late season now is like half human, half demon. It's kind of hot.
Nah, Nami's Nami, but Nami's baller, bro.
Yeah,
Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings?
Lord of the Rings every day of the week.
Henry Cavill or Robert Downey Jr.?
Oh, Cavill. We'll go Cavill.
Favorite anime of all time?
Favorite anime, Dragon Ballz there. Yeah, locked into my heart.
All right, and the last one from me is keep, delete. You can only keep one of these. Marvel, DC, Dragon Ball.
Jesus.
You can only keep one.
I can only keep one.
You can only keep...
Marvel, DC, and Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I would keep... I'm going to say Dragon Ball. I would keep it. Yeah, let's superheroes.
No.
Huge. Goodbye, Marvel. Goodbye, DC.
Oh, man. Some surprises in there. But that's it for the rapid fire. I can't believe you lost 500 followers, man.
Yeah. Good times, huh?
Just starting. Man, it's crazy.
That is what it is.
Yeah.
Well, Jackson, we appreciate you coming on today, mate. Make sure everyone goes and follows his socials.
We'll have those in the description.
For sure. Is there anything you want to leave us with on your way out? We love a hobby podcast exclusive here. Is there a piece of work that maybe you're working on that is coming up? Something in the works?
In the pipeline. Gotta say, man, like I don't have anything new that I'm working on. Like I just finished a Space Marine 2 piece that I posted that last night, I'm pretty sure. I've been playing the Space Marines 2. That was really fun. That and the Black Myth Wukong. Posted those ones up recently. But yeah, there'll be some new anime stuff that I need to get finished. So yeah, I can't say exactly what it is at the moment, but I've got quite a big list for what I need to get done. I've got 2 Singapore shows at the end of the year, and obviously being Singapore, big on anime, and I've got a shitload of stuff I need to get done for them. So I mean, if you just follow my Instagram, you'll be able to see them when I post them.
Awesome, mate. Appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hopefully we'll see you at PAX. And
hopefully we've seen you at PAX.
Yeah.
All right, see you, mate.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks, God.
Dino, another amazing guest episode. We had Mike last week on, who talks at Collector of Art. We were talking art, and then we had an actual artist on from Melbourne. what a cool guy. Jackson just seems like one of the boys.
Man, what a legend. What a legend. How do we do this? We're so appreciative of these guests that are willing to come on our show, man. Jackson does some sick stuff. And it was really, really good to see the insights as someone that's not involved in the art game, to see that it can be a very lucrative career if it's done right and you've got the right following, and obviously you put the hours in to grow and upskill yourself. I love that there is a real it's a thriving industry.
Yeah, there's a real few golden nuggets in that interview where he followed what he was passionate about and what he loved, and then he took the plunge. He realized at a stage that his full-time job and what he was loved doing, he could do that. He took the step, man. Yeah. And now he's doing it full time.
Yeah.
Really, really cool. So guys, make sure you go down into the description, follow all of his socials, and make sure you watch out for that exclusive artwork, Gojo versus Superman.
We're going to run a giveaway. It's going to be a giveaway.
Yeah.
We had a little chat with Jackson off camera, and we've decided we're going to run a givey. So keep your eyes peeled for that. That's going to be an awesome piece to get your hands on. Obviously, next episode is a boys only one. So jump into the description, call in for Hobby Heroes through the SpeakPipe link. Also, make sure you get over to Instagram at @the_hobby_pod. Make sure you go vote on the Rumble, the old metazoo Rumble. I'm still smashing Kearns in the tally, so let's try and keep that dream alive. Is there anything else from you, Colonel?
Nothing, mate.
Well, that is it. Wheels up, and we are out of here. We'll see you guys in the next one.